Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Born to Grow. And in today's podcast, we have with us Raj from Stoa School. Welcome, Raj. Happy to have you here.
Hi Pooja, uh, feeling amazing to be here on this lovely morning.
So, let us talk a little bit about Stoa, then we'll move on to your story. So, Stoa makes high quality business education accessible and affordable to all the students. Stoa, they develop and deliver cohort programs which help the
Yep,
students find an impactful business role in just 12 weeks, which is impressive, even without an MBA, right?
absolutely.
So, before we talk anything about Stoa School, let us talk about your journey. Growing up in Goa, which is, I'm really looking forward to hear that. Growing up in Goa, engineering or physics degree from BITS, and then how did the entrepreneurship happen? Why did you choose entrepreneurship?
So Pooja, thanks for inviting me firstly, and this is an amazing opportunity for me to actually interact with a bunch of young folks. I'd always love talking to young people and like pushing people ahead into entrepreneurship, which I think is my newfound love, and which is an amazing journey of personal discovery at the end of the day, right? So, I was born in Goa, born in 1994, right? Post liberalization babies, as I love to call all of us. Um, Growing up was very interesting. Goa is not a big state, right? Right. I think 2011 census, we were at around 1.5 million, but 15 lakh ka population. It's a small place, right? And so growing up, you felt like this was the entire world for you, right? Because back in the day, what did we have besides DD News and DD Metro and DD National, right? That was the world for us. And I very well remember in in my primary school reading a lot of Tinkers, reading a lot of Amar Chitrakatha, right? And getting exposed to science, right? I think there was something called Anu Club in Tinkle, and got very excited about science back in the day. And one of the, I think, pivotal moments in my childhood was in 2003. I still remember waking up one February morning to the news that this person called Kalpana Chawla had passed away in an accident, with the space shuttle and so on. And I was wowed. That very day, I was wowed ki, arey, an Indian can also go to, space. Because that was something that this was very unthinkable of back in the day. And very luckily, around that time, I sort of nagged my parents into getting me a computer, like just out of primary school. It was quite a fight. Of course, everyone thought I wanted to just play games all day, all night, which I wanted to do. But I think just having that dial-up internet, being able to access Google at such a young age was was a better gift than I could ever, ask for. And one thing led to another. My interest in astronomy, because of that incident and exploration, grew deeper, right? And I think this was also around the time when NASA had sent like a lot of rovers to Mars. So there was spirit, there was opportunity, and newspapers would be full of these lovely pictures of these rovers on Mars. And back in the day, we did not have cable TV, so I would sort of sneak to my grandmother's house or something just to watch Nat Geo and Discovery, right? They used to have these special programs on space and whatnot back in the day. So that was, I think, what a lot of my childhood was around. And growing up in school, I always wanted to get into science, into astronomy, into physics, into aeronautical, aerospace, that kind of stuff. And that sort of was my identity throughout school. कि यही करना है कि physics में कुछ जाके करना है, PhD research, right? And I think I took that a little too seriously. And while like 10th standard happened, 11th, 12th standard happened. Everyone was like going mad after the whole IIT JEE sort of
Right.
craze. I was sure कि मुझे engineering नहीं करना है because मेरा
Oh.
passion physics है. मुझे physics में कुछ करना है.
Mm-hmm.
And so gave my bitsat because I mean because I'd been to a BITS campus here in Goa, right? And I was
Okay.
like
Okay.
amazed, right? Like when you
Hmm.
enter
The
these
vibe and the entire campus and the kind of students that you will meet. I mean, that was an impressionable age. So you sort of your mind gets blown away.
absolutely. So when I was like a kid, I used to go for quizzes. Like school kids, they would call school kids once a year for quizzes. And when you're like 16, when you're 15, and you go to this huge campus, you just get floored by the just the grandeur of the place. And I was like, मुझे यही जाना है college के लिए.
Mm.
And there was a very interesting detour in the middle wherein I caught this bug of wanting to go to the US for my undergrad. Like I was like,
Mhm.
okay, the best places are in the world are in the US. मुझे MIT जाना है. Like
Mm.
nothing short of that would work. So I sort of applied to MIT. All right, this was 2012. I sort of applied to MIT because I grew up watching their videos on physics and whatnot on YouTube. So 11th, 12th, when people are preparing using HC Verma and so on, I used to be on YouTube watching these, online lectures that they used to put up way back.
Mhm.
Torrent करके download करता था and used to watch these physics lectures, and I was like, these amazing professors, यही जाना है. I did not get through. But I made a lot of friends on the internet, like around the whole MIT admissions thing. And one thing I realized was that growing up in Goa, I pretty much was living like a very sheltered or a very like uh, how do I put it? It was not as vibrant a life, not as
Mm.
exposed to things as someone in the metros would be. I knew that if I
Mhm.
was born in, let's say, Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore, my life would have been completely different because of the things that I would have been exposed to, right? Like,
Mhm.
for a good long time, I had no idea about the stock market. Or
Oh.
that something like that even exists, or why it has to exist. Because
Mhm.
these things people don't talk about in smaller
Right.
parts of the
Cities. Yeah,
country.
yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I think that sort of left an impact somewhere ki, like why should someone in a smaller town suffer just because
Mm.
access nahi hai, right, to things. And the only thing that probably saved me, and probably the big reason why I got into bits, was also because of the internet, like online lectures, this, that, whatnot. Because I, again, not great access to coaching
Hmm.
classes and whatnot, right? Like back in the back in the day. So got into bits, not get into MIT, but that was like fine. Got into bits for a physics degree. It was an integrated master's degree in physics. So 4 years you could get an MSc. And that was like an interesting proposition क्योंकि उसके बाद I could directly go for a PhD, right? So I was like
Oh.
यही ले लेंगे. And I think my 3-4 years were absolutely intense, right? I nerded out like there was no tomorrow, which is not something people in college do, right?
Right.
Like people go to college to have a fun time.
Fun
I mean, in
time,
a
chill in there with friends, and then explore the world actually, not only on the studies part, but in general, because that's the first time they go, out of the protection zone of their parents. So they sort of become wild.
and especially so when you're in Goa, right? Like when you're coming to college in Goa, so you can
Right.
understand how it was like. But so in my mind, I was like, I've had all the fun that I could have before college, because I used to do photography, astronomy, ये वो सब कुछ. And in college, I was like, I've gotten the chance, like पढ़ लूंगा. अब like seriously, like I'll make the best out of this opportunity. So I went all in on just studying physics, theoretical physics, string theory, this, that. And whereas everyone around me was, of course, doing a bunch of things, koi startup kar raha tha, food delivery, this, that. I think around that time on campus, the whole, like Ola, Uber was just taking up in the outside world. So even people on campus, some senior folks, they were doing this cab sharing startup and some
Hmm.
food delivery. कोई Domino's से pizza आके deliver कर लेता था campus space. So there was a lot of this interesting like stuff
That
happening.
wave of entrepreneurship was like picking up that time.
Absolutely. And so not only was I studying physics, but at the very same time, what we did was because of that bite of not getting into MIT, right? Like,
Hmm.
wo chup raha tha. And like we sort of started an NGO in Goa. A few people from BITS, friends from back home, to just go to schools all over, right? Like local schools, village schools, and tell them about technology. This was 2012, 13, 14. For 2-3 years, we went to like far schools, talked to them about what are the possibilities about, programming or your design, what all you can do on your laptop to,
Hmm.
just
Just creating
make money.
awareness.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just creating awareness, trying to get people into building things and doing things. So
Hmm.
that was my first like serious introduction to uh, education, like doing something, going out there, doing something in education. And although this was a non-profit, it still gave me a sense of how to go about building a team, how to, like back in the day, Facebook was the only way you could just attract an audience. So just
Hmm.
posting on Facebook saying, hey, we are doing this, come along if you want to, join, helping people out. So that just gave me a, like good sense of how to start things, build a team, operate. And I got out of college in 2016. Uh, Published a paper. In fact, like I took some time
Oh,
off. I published some paper in like string theory and cosmology. But when I applied for my PhDs, I sort of thought to myself, "Ki, is this something I really want to be doing for the rest of my life?" I had this thing. Ki, this theoretical physics, it's okay, it's fun, it's cool, all of that, but am I really helping people? That thing was
hmm.
always at the biting me, eating me in the back of my mind. Ki, am I really, just creating value for people? And I realized ki nahi karna hai, like, like it was a hard decision because, like all my life for like 10 years, I was just like, yahi karna hai. I told everyone yahi karna hai. And then suddenly I tell people ki,
अब ये
you know
नहीं करना है.
अभी नहीं करना है. And people are like, you should take some time to think about it, are you sure? Because of course that was my image, that was my identity, right, in front of a lot of people. And I realized ki I want to be starting something of my own, right? So because I had interned in a few startups in some data science role, this that, and I was like, wow, like look at this, like
Hmm.
just look at how people are building companies and
Hmm.
solving real world problems, and of course like scaling companies very fast.
Hmm.
um, and this was sort of like my inspiration to
Hmm.
get into doing just get into startups. I had no idea
Hmm.
what I was signing myself up for.
Hmm.
Per business, like I knew I could do something, and I was like, okay, this looks like a good way of adding value to the world, creating an impact. So it's like, let's do it, right? That is how I started off. I think I've had like some, I don't even know, countless number of ideas that I've floated around, this that. Now most of them have failed, like royally failed, right? But yeah, it's been a very interesting, very interesting journey, this whole
I
thing.
think once you see the possibility, I mean, that, this is something that you can do when you take on the entrepreneurship path, then it's really hard to go back to the just theoretical world, which, I mean, is usually the case in PhD or any academic field that you take up. What do you think?
I think I agree. And when, so in my initial few years, right, when I got into business startups, um, I was also a very academic person because that was my background. So in my first whatever venture that we tried, it was also theoretical. We
Hmm.
wanted to build an AI bot which helps people find the best learning resources online, available online. And we're like, wow, this would be so nice if it
Hmm.
happens. We did not think about the fact whether someone wants it,
Hmm.
whether a customer really is asking for that, whether someone would actually pay for something like this. How would you go
Yeah.
about like monetizing this? So
When
it
was
was a
it?
very this was 2017, I think, and late 2017 was when this
Hmm.
Kida sort of like took over, and we were like, "Chalo, like let's code this,
Hmm.
let's sit and do like map all academic disciplines which are out there." And it was a very academic exercise
Hmm.
rather than running it like a business with the focus key. I need to validate my idea.
Idea.
I need to test if someone really wants this, and if I am able to monetize it and build a
Right.
business, pay salaries
Hmm.
to people and to
People who are
yourself, and yeah, like I did not think about it at all
hmm.
that way. It was just like, yeah, if this exists, it will be very nice to have. Right? It's a very academic way of going about things, and looking back, I think a lot of people in Indian colleges are. Still thinking that way, right? Most people who come out of
Hmm.
college come out thinking in a very academic.
Hmm.
It'll be
Yeah.
nice to have sort of a fashion, which is not what the real world like. It's not how the real world unfortunately works. So
Hmm.
I think, yeah,
You can
academics in
clearly
academia.
you can clearly see the gap. I mean, the stuff that you read in the books, and when you go for a job and then you see what kind of work is being done there, I mean, these are two different worlds. I mean, the similar kind of thing, because I also come from in the education space. So I am into education space since 2012. And so we cater to students who are pursuing chartered accountancy and other professional courses, right? So the courses and the books that they have to read, I mean, there's no doubt, I mean, it's good stuff. Like, it is ultimately be used, it will be used in the practical world, but none of what happens actually in the practical world is taught in the books. I mean, it is somewhere used. I mean, the underlying theme remains the same, but how to go about it, that is really not taught. So that is really a big gap that you're actually talking about. And when you said that, people who recently graduate or who are in the school, they also think from that academic perspective that, okay, we have to learn it, or we have to just see, like, does it make sense? But after making sense, applying it to the real world, and then making sense in the practical world, that's really a big challenge.
I completely agree, and like I think people think that it's a lot of learning, learn everything, and then do.
Hmm.
Whereas in reality, it's more of like
Learn, do,
learn,
yeah.
do, build, talk to people,
And sometimes
learn
do
some
and
more.
then learn.
Yes, like I think that's the best way of. I realize that's the best way of going about things. You can only really learn through experiences, through your own sort of like mistakes and to things that hurt, right? I feel learning is a very painful process, and unless and until you go through the pain, like lesson nahi aata hai dimag mein, right? Like it doesn't stick to you. It's
Hmm.
just like reading a textbook, going to the exam and getting done with it. But real lessons are the ones wherein you've actually wasted days, weeks, months, years, gotten screwed in your head, right? Because you've not done something right, and you are afraid of doing it, wrong.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
afraid of doing it wrong in that same way for the rest of your life. Those are, I think, um, real lessons, and you pay with time, right? I think uh, money is okay; it's a thing, but like, I think most lessons that come hard, you pay with your precious time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Absolutely
I
correct.
agree.
So you've been to BITS Pilani as well?
I have, I mean, the Pilani campus.
Yeah.
In fact, I have not. I would want to go there someday because that's like the mother campus. But
Yeah.
I have not. In fact, my current co-founders are from, like one of them is from Pilani campus, and yeah, like always wanted to, go there, but haven't gotten the opportunity to to go there.
Hmm.
as of yet.
Okay, now let's talk about how did you get the idea of starting Stoa School? I mean, what was the inspiration? How did you actually finalize? Okay, this is something that I want to do, and this is something wherein I can add value to people's lives who will be joining me or taking up the boot camp or the program that you guys are delivering.
So in my head, Stoa School is an online first business education institution, wherein we help young professionals, right, like get better at building, growing, running tech enabled businesses, right? And what I feel is that in this fast paced world, taking off 2 years, to go and do a full-time MBA program, sit in classes, and of course take on heavy loans. Like if you want to
Mm,
do it from a top-tier college, it doesn't come cheap at at all, right?
right.
Tens of lakhs at the least. So this was a six month long process to sort of understand this problem space, to talk to, I think we talked to a few hundred people over Twitter especially before actually launching this program, because this time, unlike previous times, we actually took efforts to validate
Mm,
whether the market exists, whether the opportunity exists, how we can message it, how we can position it, right? So as to get people to buy in, right? Because
mm,
uh, right now, I think in India, what is happening is that a lot of people, um, I think most of the people who are watching this also, when you're growing up, your parents tell you ki beta, like pad lo, right? Like don't think about making money and all that. That you can think about later on. Now you just study, you get good marks. Then you'll see later on like kya karna hai. And so people grow up without even understanding ki like what is the world of business.
mm,
Like what all, how difficult is it to sustain a profitable business, right? It looks like sab kar rahe hain, it must be easy. Um, and what happens is that once people hit that 2021, they graduate from whatever stream, engineering, or commerce, science degrees, whatever. People realize ki, oh shit, like there is so much more in the world than I was told about, that I studied, right?
mm,
And when people get into jobs, get into like coding job or some other job, right? People hit that, especially people our age, hit that plateau in their lives.
mm,
Ki, okay, this is cool, like uh, fine, I'm fine, but I want something more, right? I want to be doing something of my own. I want to be in a much more impactful position, wherein I'm not just like typing something in a spreadsheet, but I'm actually causing some real world impact, changing lives, like hundreds, thousands, millions of lives out there. And that is when business education sort of comes handy, right?
mm.
I am sure that almost everyone who is like 25 right now has thought of doing an MBA, or at least asked themselves, ki, should I do an
Should
MBA?
I?
Should I do an MBA? Is that like, will that add like that spice to my life that
Mm.
I
Or
really
my
want?
career, basically.
Career, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone wants that something new, kuch to ho jaye life mein, right?
Mm,
And that MBA becomes the go-to thing right
mm.
now
Right.
for people.
And also, I think only with the bachelor's degree, a lot of people think that later in their career they won't be taken seriously, like
Mhm.
because it is the I mean mindset of people that, oh, at least he or she has done MBA, maybe if not that experience, that at least they have that knowledge that can be
Mhm.
applied in the business world or
Yeah.
in the companies. So that mindset is also there.
Absolutely, and I think bachelor degree to सबके पास होती है आजकल. So I
Yeah.
think it is like almost tick box that people sort of fill in, right? But when it comes to an MBA, as I said before, ki 2 year commitment is a big deal for most people, right? Especially the opportunity cost. Ki
Mm,
I'm already making so much in my current job, something like that, and why should I leave that and go back to campus again, to that academic world,
mm,
right? Like why should I leave where I'm learning actively and go back to that academic world? So what we came up with is a sort of part-time, fully online, cohort-based, like learning from each other rather than just listening to that Coursera type lecture, right? Format, wherein it's a lot of fun. So you sort of are given reading material and very relevant case studies, right? Like, so we will not talk about very old companies or old brands like all the time. We will also talk about startups. Like, we will talk about what Swiggy is doing, what like what Big Basket is doing, what, let's say, some internet company in the US is doing, right? So we sort of bring in all these latest happenings. We keep it fun. Our learning happens in a lot of workshops, so it's not some person just talking to you for 50 minutes every day, but you are in groups of 4 and 5 on Zoom, and you're actually working through a proper exercise. For example, one of the exercise in the strategy part of the program is, suppose you're Uber, right? How would you analyze the different market forces using the Porter's 5 forces framework? So you have to actually sit down and think कि भाई competition क्या है इस space में, like what is the buyer pressure, what pressure are suppliers putting, right? Like regulations कैसे होते हैं. So it is it is a very hands-on experience that we're creating online. And the best part is that it's just 12 weeks long. It's like the whole curriculum of the MBA. So right from finance to operations, human resource management, leadership, marketing, branding, sales, operations, strategy. All of this sort of packed in 12 sort of weeks, right? So it's damn intense. But for people who like that intense thing, कि 2 साल नहीं करना है, like 3 महीने में I want to just be exposed to everything. This is like an amazing alternative. It's also very affordable alternative, right? As compared to going to, like taking big loans and doing MBA. So yeah, that's how our thinking around this has been, and it's been very well received by people. Right now we've sorry, I mean, I just we've gotten around like 2000 people who shown interest to get into this program right during the launch. So I think one advice to anyone who's watching this and wants to do something is take some time to think, to plan, to talk to people before you actually start something, right? Do your research by going on the ground, and it will bear like fruit. It will at least save you efforts which won't go anywhere, right? Yeah.
So now I want to talk about the failure phase in your life. You told me when you were starting out you failed massively, and not only once, I mean couple of times. So what are the major lessons that you learned during your failure, and what would you advise to people who are just starting out, that these are the things that they should take care of, and these are the mistakes that they can ignore if they do this and that?
I think my topmost learning has been that you need to value your own time. If you think that you are worth something, right, like, or you will make it big someday, you should have started valuing your time really well yesterday, right? Like, what I mean by that is that a lot of people think that they have forever to just go on and do things and figure out things. But I think time is the most valuable resource that you have, and it doesn't come back, right? Once it goes, like money will come, money will go, but time is something that once you lose it, right? And in India, I think we have absolutely zero value for time, for our own time, for each other's time, and all of that, and it's toxic. It, like, not valuing your own time
Unproductive as
gets
well.
Unproductive, and it gets people to make a lot of wrong decisions, right? I've seen myself and a lot more people around me just doing things forever, right? Not killing things, not killing your projects, because you do not value your own time, right? If something is not working, you should be able to realize that and take a call on that really, really fast, rather than wasting few more months or a year, stretching something out which is not going to work, because that 1 year you could be doing something else, you could be learning something much more, you could have you could be on a completely different trajectory if you value your own time very well. Now, a few specific lessons, right, that I would like to give young entrepreneurs is: one, know the market in which you are dealing with. But when it comes to college students or people who just come out of college, one thing that I observe is that their world is very small. All they know about is college में क्या होता है, or like peripheral, college के periphery में क्या क्या होता है. So most people in college, when they think of startup, they're like, chalo, like I'll do some second-hand book thing, or I will do some like very college, serving the college audience type
or we can say very
business.
non-scalable, like limited to the, I mean, very limited by geography.
Yeah, limited to geography or limited to that college ecosystem sort of approach, right? And I feel that's a big mistake, right? Because the college audience is not itself a very good market, so to say, in general. People need to expose themselves to the B2B, that is business to business market. People need to expose themselves to the B2C market, which is like just the broader consumer market. What do people in the 30s, what do people in the 40s want? Because these are the people with money in their hand to spend. They have less time but more money, and they are willing to spend their money to get things done for them, right? So people, I think, in college firstly need to look out before, I mean, rather than looking inwards when it comes to business ideas, because you can do much more progress in every aspect, right? If you serve audiences which have more money and lesser time, or businesses which need work to be done, and they'll be willing to pay you to get work done, right? College students need to be aware of this. Secondly, validating your idea is very, very important. Now, there's this book called The Mom Test, which I recommend to everyone who's interested in becoming an entrepreneur. That book teaches you how to validate your idea and not fool your own self. Zyadatar, what we end up doing is that we convince ourselves that this is idea, I like it, that means it will change the world, without actually talking to other people as in, like, not your friends or your parents. Your friends will always tell you,
who could be the potential users, basically.
Users, right? Not people who will just give you a pat on the back and say, wow, like, go ahead, like, wow, badhiya idea. Like, you should be talking to people who will, like, pay you money at the end of the day. And you should be validating your idea, like, by understanding people's problem, how much the problem means to them, right? How much is solving the problem worth to them, right? Rather than just building something because like, this idea sounds nice. That is a trap that people sort of a lot of people fall into. The third thing is that people need to understand the importance of marketing, brand building, right? Like, not enough people realize what differentiation can get you. Like, most of the businesses that we buy in, like, think about Coca-Cola, right? Like, it's just like a sugar syrup at the end of the day, right? Black colored sugar syrup, but people drink only that all over the world, right? And Coca-Cola makes money just by, like, licensing the brand. It's not like they own all the manufacturing whatever units. They just own the brand. And the power of brand and power of, like, just differentiating and positioning yourself in the user's head is very, very important. Like, you need to be unique to stand out in today's world. And I think more people need to figure out how is my business, how is my venture sort of unique, right? And the last thing is online businesses, right? I feel more people need to be building their online audience, because that just unlocks a whole new market. And I think you would know this very, very well, right? Like, so as someone who's gone from building some offline businesses and just struggling very hard, like, to sell stuff, because you have only access to a very small market around you, especially in a tier 2 town in India. When you go online, suddenly your market becomes global. If you have the skills, you can probably sell to clients in the US and
Right.
earn in dollars per hour, right? Like you can pull that off if you have an online reputation wherein people can come and trust you, right? So these are, I think, the four things that people need to really sort of focus on, in my opinion. And these things, if done right, it can turn around someone's life in 2 years time.
Mm.
It's not a quick fix, but I think that's the best you can get, like in 2 years, right? If you do it
Yeah.
right.
So to wrap up, one, value your time. Second, validate your idea as soon as possible, not only from your friends but from the actual users, the
Yeah.
potential users, and who will actually pay for your idea, right?
So never from your friends, in fact, right?
Yeah, actually. And then third one was about the brand power, and
Mhm.
fourth one was about
Online audience, right? Like
online
build your
audience.
online audience.
Online
Build your
audience.
online audience as soon as possible. It is not something that you can do instantly. It
Yeah, it'll
requires,
take time.
it'll take time, but once you have it, like no one can take it away, like
Hmm.
from you, right? No competition can build it overnight.
Yeah,
So I think, yeah.
overnight is definitely something that people should not expect.
Mhm.
In fact, when you mentioned that that it cannot be taken away from you, I mean, you have to go very I mean, strictly with it, because I've seen people who have a large audience, who have a good following, but still, one step that they make wrong, or one decision that they make wrong, it can actually affect their
Mhm.
audience base. I mean, I have a couple of examples, but we can keep it for another
Yeah,
another
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think, in fact, Pooja, the one last thing to add to this is the value of persistence, right? Like, yeah, I agree that I did like a very shit job. 2 years, I almost wasted two. I mean, I wouldn't call it a waste, but sort of didn't do things the right way for a long time, right? But I think the only thing that worked out very well for me is that I kept on trying. I kept on learning and trying and learning and trying. Of course, I have some privilege wherein I can do that, and the whole Vixen sort of tag helps you through the journey. There's no doubt about that. But there is nothing that can replace just that persistence, right? Ki
Hmm.
it's okay. I am on a 10-year journey. I am
Hmm.
on a 20-year journey. ये like 3 साल में कुछ unicorn खड़ा नहीं करना है, right? Like I am okay with it taking time. I know
Hmm.
good businesses take time to build, and it's I need people need to be ready for that long term sort of
Yeah.
you know
Always
journey.
be in for the long haul. I mean, not for the short
Yeah,
haul. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I want to now talk about your one of the previous startups. So in
Mhm,
2018, you co-founded Nova Samhita, and at Nova
mhm,
Samhita, you used to help undergraduates from non-metro colleges to break into different fields like web development or design roles, right?
mhm,
And at that time, the model that you had was income sharing model, right?
mhm,
So i- now with Stoa School, what you're trying to do is you're trying to impart the education or the experience that is required to get the job. It's like sort of a
mhm,
backward integration that you did from Nova Samhita with Stoa School.
mhm.
So I mean, what is your vision with Stoa School? Do you plan to provide the placement assistance as well, or is it already in the place, already in the pipeline?
So we do have with Stoa, we do have a bunch of placement partners, right from top startup like Cred and Swiggy to very young startups that I think people will hear about in 2 3 years time. I'm sure they will be household names, right? So we do have a bunch of placement partners with us, and one realization that I've had in this journey of helping people get jobs with Noah Samita and now with Stoa is that, yeah, like people in colleges think that I have done a degree, so mujhe job to ab milna hi hai. Like someone must have kept a job for me. That is the approach that people have. Ki people feel entitled to
Yeah,
jobs. Ki
it's quite a
milega hi
naive
job,
thought.
right?
Yeah, it's a naive thought.
It's a naive thought. It's, I think, I mean, being a very, like coming from a socialist sort of background in India, I can understand where that feeling is coming from. But at the end of the day, it's an open market. You have to go prove your worth, right? And
Yeah.
people can, it's like वो saying होती है ना कि you can take that horse to the water but you can't make it drink the water. It's like that. Everyone can, your college, things like Nova Semita, Stoa, whatever, can help you as much as they
Mm.
can, but in the end it is up to the person to
Mm.
sort of go out there
And prove
and
their
prove
worth.
themselves, right?
Mm.
Prove their worth and back the opportunity. Like there, I think companies are crying for good talent on one side.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And
So that's the problem in India, people, they focus more on degrees than on skill, and the hard work and the persistence, as you mentioned, is required. People just want that they have, spent this amount of money, and they have invested this much years in a particular college, but then they don't know the real challenge actually begins after you graduate from the college, that you actually have to prove your worth in while you're in the job. So I've seen a lot of people who, in our profession, chartered accountancy. So they get ranks, right? And the 3 years are mandatory. So in chartered accountancy course, you have to do 3 years mandatory articleship. So if you're not doing that, you're missing out hugely. So what happens, they won't do that, and then they'll get a rank or something, all over India rank, and then they'll get job. But within 6 months, the company will know that you're not worth it, and then they'll be like fired for sure. So that's the main thing.
I think, yeah, I think so. India's job problems are, I think, they're going to be, they'll bite us really hard in the years to come because of our demographics, right? A lot of young people, and like, man, I feel sad, like in general, for the way people are. I don't think it's people's mistake inherently. It's just like the way the system is sort of
Hmm.
set up, or people are made to believe, and by the time they come out of college, the mindset is completely not in a great place. So we are trying in our own way to tell people that it is in your hands. Don't sort of rely on other people. Like, no one can offer you 100% placement guarantee, right? Like, that
Yeah.
is so impossible,
If
right? Like,
someone's doing that, that's a scam.
that's a scam, right? It's just a marketing whatever technique. You have to prove your worth. No company is going to be like, acha, you don't have a job, let me do some social service to aja, like, here, take a salary.
Right.
No company is like in here to like do that level of like social service. So people need to one thing people need to ask themselves is, if I was running a company, would I hire my own self?
Hmm.
If I went to college for placements and I saw myself sitting there, would I give
Hmm.
myself a job? And when I ask this to people, not a lot of people like like say that, yeah, I would hire myself. That is the problem, right? Like, people know ki usse nahi hota hai, and
Hmm.
it's not right to expect a job when you know that I don't have anything to offer,
Offer.
right? So
Hmm.
yeah, like, I think we it's a massive problem. Let us see how we can all collectively come together to sort of bring about more awareness, and yeah, like, get people to take their life in their own hands at the
Hmm.
end of the day.
Right. So I think this will be my last question. We can end the
Mhm.
podcast. So, how much your past experience has helped you in building Stoa? I mean, we talked about failures, I know we talked about it a bit, but how much the overall experiences of the past startups has helped you in creating Stoa, and how is it going to, I mean, how do you think it has helped you in making sound decisions?
I think um, it's all inside this operating system, right? Like, I mean, I can't really quote things, but now I know that when I smell bullshit, I know it, right? Like,
Hmm.
I know that I can correct myself very fast. I can
Okay.
correct other people very fast, whether this will work or this won't work. Now, of course, I'm not right all the time, but I mean, it's not about being right all the time, right? Like, that's
Obviously.
not what we are trying to do. We're just trying to just make the big decisions in the best possible fashion. And I think having made a lot of wrong decisions and learning from them has been of immense value. If you had told 2016 Raj to just, like, do this whatever, that I'm doing right now, I would have probably had a completely different approach to doing the very same thing, and like basically understanding the market, right? Understanding ki log kya chahte hain, right? And how do you give it to people? I think I had no idea, and by doing it the wrong way, I have pretty much sort of like now become a machine that can that is
Mm-hmm.
getting better every day at taking these decisions. There are a lot of places where I can still learn a lot, like for example managing teams and like checking, I mean managing operations at a larger scale. That is something that I'm sure will learn as I go ahead. but but yeah, I think the basics are in place only because of the mistakes that
Mm.
uh, that I've made. Yep.
Hmm. So there's a quote now which goes by sometimes you're right, sometimes you learn. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
so if you're not right, then you can do mistakes and still learn from that experience.
Yeah, and don't take failures to heart, right? I think some
Yeah.
people take rejection very, very bad, but I think I have probably been rejected from like hundreds of investors, and then I was doing whatever the whole academic thing, like PL, I mean professors for internships, this, that, whatnot. So customers even, right? Like hundreds and thousands of people have rejected things, but I think that's how it is, right? Like, I mean, if you're not being rejected, I don't even think you're doing things, like I
Right.
don't even think you're trying hard
Hmm.
enough. So,
I
yep.
think we should do a session how to be a thick-skinned person like Raj, because I remember the first time that I failed, I took it to my heart, and I mean I just couldn't digest the fact that I can fail. I mean, that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing, that sort of cognitive dissonance happened with me. So we should definitely do another session on how to become thick-skinned and how to actually, go out there in the wild and actually expose yourself to externalities and in the risky situation, so that at least you try, and I mean if not something at all, you'll fail and learn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an art at the end of the day to just like keep this thing going, and I hope more people do it. Right? It's not like some magic at the end of the day. It just, um, yeah, I think more people need to be confident in themselves. Going ahead, more people, especially young, women. I feel need to be much more confident because men generally sort of walk their way through.
Hmm.
They'll negotiate, they'll say something and they'll just walk through,
Yeah.
whereas I think females in India, I mean I've observed that people think, they rethink, they question themselves,
Hmm.
uh, uh, and sometimes unnecessarily so, right? Unfortunately, they you're very so doubtful, self doubtful, that you stop your own progress. And I
Hmm.
think that is something that needs to go away uh,
Hmm.
in this country if we are to progress anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely love the session. And in the future session, we should definitely talk a little bit more about cohort courses, cohort
Mhm.
programs, the entire industry versus the VOD or the other live
Mhm.
video classes industries. I mean, how cohort is definitely going to create a dent and make its own place within this online education space. And I mean, I gained a lot of insights from you as well. So thank you so much for doing this, Raj. I'm really looking forward to another one. And I mean, absolutely loved the entire session.
Thanks, Pooja. Thanks a lot for having me on, and hoping forward, like looking forward to doing more sessions.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you. Bye, guys.